What up guys, Demoghost here, and this past weekend the Guilty Gear Strive beta, or closed beta, was released so you could play online with other people, and I thought it'd be a fun idea to rank the strongest characters from the beta, or rank the characters from the weakest to the strongest. And if there's one thing I've learned from YouTube, it's that I should be making more ranking videos. So right here I got a list. I could not find Guilty Gear Strive on Tier Maker. So I just picked up a Guilty Gear Xrd tier list kind of thing, and I just put all the characters that are not in the beta for Strive in this not in beta category right here. And I got, our 7 characters that were in the Guilty Gear Strive beta here. And we got numbers 1 through 7, and we're going to just go rank them from, weakest to the strongest. We'll start at number 7. And I just want to say before I even get into this that this is clearly just for fun. This is a beta. These characters are all subject to change and will probably change before the game comes out. And honestly, all of these characters felt like they had their own strengths and were viable in certain ways. So, just take it with a little bit of grain of salt. This is my opinion. You're welcome to disagree, but, you're wrong because this is my video and I'm right in my videos. Starting at number 7 on who I think is the weakest character in the Guilty Gear Strive beta, I'm going to have to put May over here. I'm just going to put May right there. I mean, May's a good character. She's a rush down character. She does a lot of damage, but she doesn't really seem to have as many tools as some of the other characters. She has the least amount of abilities out of any characters. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's bad or, make her necessarily worse, but she just... Her neutral seems to be like the hardest to play because she doesn't have as many big buttons, and she really just has to like rush you down, and she's not even the fastest character. The way her moves chain is also a little bit weird and funky, and she's also a charge character but wants to rush in. It's a weird kind of play style, but she just doesn't seem to have as many tools as the other characters, but good damage. Moving into number 6, I'm gonna have to put Potemkin. I honestly thought I was going to put Potemkin number 7 at first, but the more I got to thinking about it, the more I think that he's just slightly better than May, because Potemkin is, the typical Arc System Works grappler, meaning that he's not that great. But in the beta, because this damage is so high, it's just so hard to put him in last place, because you get hit with one Potemkin buster and there goes half of your health. You've just lost half of your health with one throw. So even if he has a hard time getting in because he's big and he's slow and all that stuff, he just needs to hit you 2 times and you're dead. Just 2 times. Plus, all of his normals have incredible range. He just takes up so much of the screen, it's hard for him to miss. And counter hits in this game, in the beta, are highly damaging as well. So his damage is just absolutely ridiculous when he gets in there. Plus his anti-air super grab, I forget what it's called, is really good. Because even if he misses, he's so safe after it, he can actually mix you up afterwards. It's pretty nuts. Now, number 5, I'm going to have to put Faust. Now, Faust, I think, is a pretty good character. He's got some really good neutral. His range is ridiculous, as always. And in the beta, his randomized item throw thing is basically unlimited. At least in Xrd and previous Guilty Gear games, he could only throw items to a certain degree, and then it would force him to stop. If there was an item still on the ground, he couldn't just keep spamming it. In Guilty Gear Strive, that's not the case. He can throw as many items as he damn well pleases, or as many as you let him if he's full screen and you're not doing anything about it. I think the only issue with Faust is that he's really slow with a lot of his moves. A lot of his moves have a long startup time, and he just doesn't move very fast in the first place. But I also think Faust is one of the trickier characters to learn. I don't think everybody's fully grasped all of his stuff yet. I know I sure as hell haven't, but I'm sure he's got some tricks on his sleeve. His little scarecrow ability, where he spawns a couple of scarecrows and he's going to come through 1 of 3 ways or something, it's kind of similar to his door skill in Xrd, but it feels way more gimmicky than it is useful. And I think once you start to figure it out, because even in this short amount of time in the beta, I started to figure out what I can do to avoid that. And sometimes that's just mashing a button. You're going to beat that scarecrow move. But his other moves are still really good. He's still got a, semi-dive kick. He's got his fishing move where he pulls you in, which is really good, and you can combo after it with down heavy slash and then Roman cancel to get, more stuff off of it. So that's still pretty good. He can do some kind of cross-up stuff with his little tornado move as well, which is pretty nasty. And just in general, his little like swim air dash through the air is very... It's so different from the rest of the cast that it's actually kind of tricky to deal with sometimes if you're not really fully prepared for it. So I don't think he's a bad character. I just think he's going to struggle a little bit with how slow a lot of his moves are when a lot of other characters can fight at similar ranges but are faster. Next at number 4, we're going to go ahead and put our boy Axel there. Axel's one of the 2 characters that I've really liked playing in the beta. He's one of my favorites to play. His neutral game is obviously insane. He's got just insane range on everything, as Axel always has. And honestly, he can do some really cool stuff. He's got some new moves that are just so insane. Like they're just really good tools for him. So 2 of his new moves are Snail and Rainwater, and both of these moves are really ridiculously good. Snail is his core circle back heavy slash, which can be used on the ground and in the air. And it does have a very particular hitbox, like it only hits on the, where his sickle is and not the chain. But it has an insane range, and you can actually you can cancel into it from other moves, which allows you to combo, but also allows you to keep pressure on. And it just covers a good little angle from the air when you're on the ground. And when you're in the air, it covers a pretty wide angle from those approaching you in the air or from those trying to run underneath you on the ground. So it's a really good move, really good way to keep people out, really good way to keep pressure on. And Rainwater itself is also good for a lot of the same reasons. It's also good for when someone's kind of rushing you down and there's a little gap in their string, so you can just use that, and he'll jump back and he'll swing his sickle down and hit them, and it's a really good way to kind of back off. I definitely think there's a lot of things that people are going to discover and figure out with Axel. I'm sure there's already better players than me that have discovered some crazy combos, crazy tricks with Axel. He seems like he's just really strong in this game. This neutral game is just so damn good. His sickle flash is also really good. It's got a little bit of extra tools in it than before, just the basic explosion at the end. That is a really good tool, and on the far end of things, and also up close, since he's got his little swing thing that'll suck you kind of in and then just kind of do a bunch of hits on you. His biggest weakness though is once you get up on him, especially in the corner, he has no real way to kind of get out. He just kind of has to block really well, and his defense isn't that great. He has a DP, but you have to be in the air to use it, which I don't think was the case in Xrd. I think you could do his DP on the ground. Not sure. I didn't play a lot of Axel in Xrd, but that makes it kind of hard to escape because it's not exactly easy to just jump up and then do a quick DP motion to get yourself out in a split second. So he really has to depend on his defense to get out of the corner, or doing a good dead angle with your Roman cancels and stuff like that. His defense is just really weak once you get up, and there's some really good rush down characters in the beta so far, which is why I didn't put him up higher, but I think he might actually become one of the strongest characters later on. Who knows? He's got a really good toolkit. In general, he's got a really good toolkit. Number 3, we're gonna go ahead and put our boy Chip. Now, for these top 3, I think they're all pretty close together. I think they all could kind of be argued who's better or who's not. And I think Chip, honestly, is going to, if they keep going this way with Chip, he's going to be one of the strongest characters as well. His toolkit's insane. He's obviously the fastest character, as Chip always is. He's got a natural mix-up in his kit with his Rekkas. He's got a high-low mix-up. He's got absolute degenerate options in the corner. He's still got his wall jump off, do a freaking mix-up, and it's insane. It's insane what he can do in there. And his pressure is just so real because he can just constantly be running you down. He's also got a built-in cross-up with his little dash move, which is honestly kind of hard to see right now. Maybe it's just something you got to get used to, because he disappears for a split second and then he'll just appear behind you or whatever. And it's got a huge hitbox. It's insane. He also can do some crazy wall running stuff, which he can go really high up that wall. He can even combo you up that wall, just hit you 3 times up it and then jump off and then hit you some more. he's got some really good tools in his kit. And I think once people actually get to lab him, he's going to be insane. But in the beta, he was also just really strong. He was just really strong because he could run you down. If someone was really good at him, it was a lost cause. He was just on your ass 24/7, just destroying you. His little dash move can also go diagonal on up, so he can not only cross you up, but he can put himself in the air for some other crazy shenanigans after that. And it has a different angle when it's in the corner, so he just does. He's so tricky to defend against. He's so tricky to defend against. I know there's the whole issue of Gamma Blade can be basically jabbed out of. You can hit it and it'll hurt Chip, but honestly, with all his other tools, that's probably not the one that you're going to be going to the most. You'll probably use it as combo extensions or just very niche situations when people aren't going to expect it, so it's not that big of a deal. Overall, he's really strong, really oppressive kit. So number 2, we're going to have to put the protagonist of the game, Soul Bad Guy. Soul Bad Guy is absolutely insane in the beta. His damage is absurd. People joke around that he's they've been joking around this in Exer too, but that he's the real grappler of the game, because just look up any clip of him doing his wild throw. It does absurd amount of damage. It's insane. At least a quarter, if not a third of your health bar off of one throw. And it's insane. But that's not only his big damage move. In general, almost all of Soul's specials or special moves can be canceled off of Roman cancels for huge amounts of damage. I think I saw a clip off of Sajam's Twitter where he did a 12-hit combo off of Soul Bad Guy's DP that literally did 75%, if not 80% of his opponent's health. And it was a Potemkin too, who has the most health in the game. That's absurd. His damage is super high. All of his moves are also really plus or really safe, and he just feels really strong in general. He can rush you down really hard. He's got command throw. He's got multiple ways to get in. He's got Bandit Revolver is a quick way to just keep pressure on. Bandit Bringer is gonna go over lows and is super plus and leads to big damage if it hits, especially on counter hit. You got Night Raid, which also again moves him forward, but also underneath a lot of things, so that's another good way to get in. And then of course Fafnir is just a straight up punch that he's gonna hit you with, which again leads to huge damage off counter hits and in the corner. It's insane. His toolkit is absolutely loaded, absolutely strong. There is a few things though that were in the beta that are probably clearly bugs. I know his Gunflame, if you literally just run up to him and you're on top of him and he does Gunflame, it doesn't hit. It completely whiffs, which was hilarious. But other than that, his damage seems to be just maybe a little bit too high for all the tools that he's given. He seems to be able to do so many things and doesn't have any really big weaknesses at all. Which, when I'm talking about, it's why is he not number 1 then? Well, let's get to number 1. Kai Kisuke. The other character in the beta that I probably played the most. Kai has always been one of my go-to characters in Guilty Gear since Guilty Gear X2. He was my main then, and I really like the way he feels in Guilty Gear Strive. His toolkit is, of course, the standard, usual Shoto protagonist kind of toolkit you would find in all fighting games. But it just works out so well in this Guilty Gear beta. Just all of his tools in general were really strong in the beta. He's got really good neutral because all of his normals obviously reach very far. He's very good at keeping people out. He's got a great projectile. But he can also go in and do some decent mix-up and decent set play. But what makes him so strong in this version of the game is because of that shock state that they gave him in Guilty Gear Strive. Shock state does a lot of different things for Kai. The shock state builds up the risk gauge really fast, which is something I think that the developers are trying to push for, being a big important role in the way you play in Guilty Gear Strive. So he just builds risk gauge incredibly fast, which can lead to more damage, big counter hits, and big damage combos off of dust. But the shock state also leads to empowered combos and empowered moves that normally wouldn't be without the shock state. So like you could be pressuring someone, or even in the middle of a combo, you know, you hit with some couple of normals, then you hit with like his fireball, or like his new move. What is it called? His new move, Dire and Clat. I don't know how to pronounce French words. His quarter circle back S. It's a new move. He brings down a slash, it electrocutes you, it puts you in the shock state. You can do that in the middle of a combo, and then follow up with maybe a couple more normals, and then do something like his you can do his quarter circle back kick, his little like flip kick that he does. And because they're in the shock state in the middle of that combo, or in the middle of that pressure, that move is going to hit harder. It's going to knock the opponent down, and then you can follow up with more moves that you normally wouldn't be able to do outside of that shock state. So it just leads to more like just degenerate shit. Like it's great. I'll say it, by no means I'm not the best Kai player at all, but I even found some stuff playing with him, like in the corner without using Roman cancels. You can easily get like 5-6 hit combo without even corner splatting. It's insane what you can do with him, because his new move, his quarter circle back S, is really good. It's really good. And if you manage to get that off in a combo in the corner, you're able to follow up after it. So you can do like slash into crouching heavy slash into his quarter circle back S, and then you can follow up with another like crouching heavy slash into another special move. It's insane. And if you just do his quarter circle back kick after that, you could probably even combo it further, because that move is going to be empowered by the shock state you just put your opponent into. While Kai's damage is a bit on the lower end compared to a lot of these other characters in the game so far, because of the way his moves work and how he can extend combos like that, he can easily get some big damage in that he wouldn't be able to otherwise. Additionally, he's got some crazy stuff, like he can easily do a cross up on wake up. His wake up is so good. If you knock your opponent down, get a nice hard knockdown. Normally what Kai would do in previous games, which you can still do in this game, by the way, you can still do this, is he would use his big fireball, the 3-hit fireball. He would start casting that so that when you wake up, you have to block it, and there's nowhere you can go. He can still do that. Or he could just do an instant air dash over you, cross you up, and hit you on the other side. And that's tricky because, you know, sometimes he's not going to go on to the other side. He might stay in front of you and stuff like that. That makes him really scary. He is a Oki god in this game. He's just got insane Oki pressure. That on top of his just like incredibly great neutral game, his shock state, his pressure, his projectiles, being able to play from afar. He can play really far away very easily, and he's got a great DP. He's just got like the complete package toolkit and really has no weaknesses so far in this beta. So he's like, he's the top of the top. So he's really good and probably the best character in the beta. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you played in the beta, do you agree with my tier list or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. If you like this content, maybe hit that like button and subscribe, and stay tuned for more thoughts about what I think about the Guilty Gear Strive beta. That video is coming out very soon. So I'll see you guys in the next one.